Have you noticed that you always get sick at the most important moments of your life? That your body seems to sabotage your plans just when you need them most? Today, you'll discover the most disturbing truth that Carl Jung revealed about illness and how your body is screaming secrets that your mind refuses to hear. What you'll learn in the next few minutes will forever change the way you see every pain, every discomfort, every symptom that appears in your life. Your body isn't just flesh and bones, it's the most honest mirror of your soul. And when you get sick, it's not a coincidence. It's your shadow, that dark and repressed part of yourself, that has finally found a way to manifest. Carl Jung discovered something revolutionary. What you deny in your mind, your body expresses without your permission. And today, you're going to understand exactly how this happens. Imagine for a moment that you're a person who never allows themselves to show vulnerability. Always strong, always controlled, always with the perfect answer. But one day, inexplicably, you develop chronic migraines that force you to cancel meetings, stay home, depend on others. Coincidence? Jung would say no. Your body is doing what your mind refuses to do. Admit that you need rest, that you can't handle everything, that you're human. This is the first revelation I want to share with you. Your sick body is your shadow speaking. Jung understood that everything we reject about ourselves doesn't disappear. It stays there, in the depths of our unconscious, waiting for the perfect moment to emerge. And many times, that moment comes through illness. When you repress your anger for years, your blood pressure skyrockets. When you deny your constant sadness, your immune system collapses. When you refuse to show fear, you develop anxiety that manifests in palpitations, sweating, panic attacks. Your body becomes the stage where your shadow performs the play that your mind censored. But here's the most unsettling part. You're not getting sick because you're weak. You're getting sick because you're too strong. Because you've held up a polished version of yourself for so long that your organism can no longer maintain that performance. Illness is the price you pay for denying yourself. Do this exercise right now. Think about your last significant illness. Not a common cold, but something that really stopped you, that forced you to change your plans, that made you feel vulnerable. Now ask yourself, what was happening in your emotional life at that moment? What feelings were you avoiding? What aspects of yourself were you denying or repressing? If you're following me this far and this content is resonating with you, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I need to know you're ready for these uncomfortable truths, because what's coming will be even more revealing. The second truth that Jung discovered is that each organ that gets sick tells a specific story about your shadow. It's not random that you develop heart problems when you've closed your heart to love. It's not a coincidence that you have digestive problems when there are emotions you can't digest. Your body is literal when it comes to expressing what you deny. Jung observed that there's a direct connection between unresolved psychic conflicts and physical manifestations. When you say, "My soul hurts," your body eventually finds a way to make that pain real. It's as if your organism says, "Since you don't want to listen to your soul, I'll make you feel this pain in a way you can't ignore." I know a woman who for years prided herself on not needing anyone. She was independent, self-sufficient, always helping others but never asking for help. She saw herself as strong and invulnerable, until she developed an autoimmune disease that literally made her body attack itself. Her immune system, designed to protect her, began destroying her own tissues. Coincidence? Jung would have seen it clearly. Her body was manifesting exactly what she was doing emotionally, attacking and destroying any part of herself that showed need, vulnerability, or dependence. Her shadow, that part of her that desperately wanted to be cared for and protected, finally found a way to express itself through an illness that forced her to depend on doctors, treatments, and the care of others. Here's the most powerful exercise you can do now. Take any recurring physical symptom you have. It could be headaches, back problems, digestive discomfort, anything. Now, instead of seeing it only as a physical problem, ask yourself, if this symptom were a metaphor for something emotional I'm repressing, what would it be trying to tell me? If your back constantly hurts, What emotional burdens are you carrying that you don't want to admit? If you have trouble sleeping, what thoughts or emotions are you avoiding facing in the silence of the night? If your stomach frequently tenses, what situations in your life can't you emotionally digest? Repeat this phrase with me. My body is wise and speaks to me through every symptom. I'm willing to listen to what my shadow wants to reveal to me. And this brings us to the third most disturbing revelation. Your illness isn't your enemy. It's your most honest ally. It's the only part of you that dares to tell the truth that your conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. Jung understood that physical symptoms are messengers, not punishments. When you develop anxiety, your body is telling you there are real emotional dangers in your life that you're not consciously recognizing. When your joints get sick, perhaps your shadow is showing you that you've become emotionally rigid, inflexible to the changes that life demands. Think about this. Have you noticed how some people get sick right before important events? It's not sabotage. It's unconscious wisdom. Their shadow knows they're not ready, that they need time, that they're pushing themselves beyond their real emotional limits. Illness becomes the only socially acceptable way to say, I can't anymore. A successful executive I know would develop respiratory infections every time she had to give an important presentation. Everyone thought it was bad luck or stress. But when we began exploring deeper, we discovered that her shadow contained a deep fear of being seen and judged. The respiratory infection literally took away her voice, kept her invisible, protected her from the exposure she so feared. Her body wasn't betraying her. It was protecting her in a way her conscious mind would never have allowed itself. Isn't it extraordinary how this works? Do this brutal honesty exercise. Think about the last time you got sick right before something important. A date, a meeting, a social event, a commitment. Don't dismiss it as coincidence. Ask yourself, what part of me didn't want to be there? What was I afraid to face? What aspect of my shadow was protecting me? We're reaching the midpoint of this revealing journey. If you feel these ideas are changing your perspective on your own health, share this video with someone who also needs to hear these truths. Because what comes next is the key to transforming this understanding into real healing. The fourth truth that Jung revealed is that ignoring your shadow's messages through illness only intensifies its destructive power. When you treat only the symptoms without listening to the message, your shadow simply finds more dramatic ways to communicate with you. Jung observed that many chronic illnesses are the result of a failed negotiation between consciousness and the unconscious. Your conscious mind wants to maintain control, continue with normal life, deny any need for change. But your shadow knows that something fundamental must transform. And when these two aspects of yourself go to war, your body becomes the battlefield. This explains why some people develop increasingly serious illnesses until they're finally forced to make profound changes in their lives. It's not that the universe is punishing them, it's that their own unconscious wisdom is escalating the intensity of the messages until they finally pay attention. I remember the case of a man who for years ignored his chronic exhaustion. He drank more coffee, worked longer hours, demanded more productivity from himself. His conscious mind was convinced that the solution was more effort. But his shadow knew the truth. He was deeply disconnected from what really mattered in his life. First, it was mild fatigue he could ignore. Then insomnia he treated with pills. Then digestive problems he managed with medications. Finally, a nervous breakdown that forced him to stop everything completely. His shadow had won the war, but at a terrible cost. If he had listened from the beginning, the transformation would have been much less dramatic. Jung understood that individuation, the process of becoming who you really are, often requires you to go through the darkness of your own shadow. And sometimes, illness is the gateway to that necessary darkness. It's your internal system saying, it's time to stop, look inward, and face what you've been avoiding. Here's the most transformative exercise you can do. Identify a pattern of illness in your life, something that repeats, that comes back again and again, no matter what treatments you use. Now ask yourself, if this illness were my wisest teacher, what lesson is it trying to teach me? What change in my life is it demanding? Don't look for superficial answers, go deeper. If you have recurring headaches, don't stay at, "I need less stress." Ask yourself, what thoughts or situations do I need to stop carrying in my head? What decisions have I been avoiding making? What aspects of my life need a complete overhaul? Repeat with me. I honor the wisdom of my shadow. I'm willing to listen to the messages my body sends me. I embrace the transformation my illness is asking of me. And this brings us to the fifth and most liberating truth that Jung discovered. When you finally embrace your shadow and listen to the messages of your illness, you don't just heal your body, but you access a power you never knew you had. Jung called this individuation, the process of integrating all aspects of yourself, including those you've rejected. When you stop fighting against your shadow and begin to dialogue with it, something extraordinary happens. Your body no longer needs to scream to be heard. Symptoms begin to dissolve because the message has been received. But this goes far beyond physical healing. When you integrate your shadow, you access energies and capacities you had kept repressed. That anger you so feared can become a powerful force to defend your boundaries. That sadness you denied can transform into deep compassion for yourself and others. That fear you hid can become extraordinary intuition to detect real dangers. I met a woman who developed thyroid problems after years of repressing her voice in a toxic relationship. Her throat literally closed, just as her ability to express herself had been closed for so long. When she finally found the courage to leave that relationship and began expressing her truth, she not only healed her thyroid, but discovered she had a natural gift for helping other women find their own voice. Her illness hadn't been a punishment, it had been an initiation. Her shadow had taken her through the necessary darkness to discover a part of herself she didn't know existed. The power she had been using to repress her voice transformed into the power to liberate it. Jung understood that every aspect of our shadow contains not only destructive energy, but also tremendously powerful creative energy. When repression transforms into integration, when denial becomes acceptance, when struggle transforms into embrace, we access internal resources that were previously inaccessible. Your illness may be pointing toward your greatest hidden gift. That vulnerability you so hide could be the key to authentically connecting with others. That sensitivity you consider a weakness could be extraordinary intuition that allows you to navigate life with wisdom that others don't possess. Do this final exercise. Take the most significant illness or symptom you've experienced. Now imagine it's not your enemy, but your wisest teacher. Ask yourself, what qualities or capacities might it be trying to awaken in me? What aspects of my personal power have I been denying that this experience is inviting me to reclaim? If you've developed anxiety, perhaps your shadow is showing you that you have extraordinary sensitivity to energies and emotions that others don't perceive. If you've had depression, maybe your soul is asking you to honor an emotional depth that is both your greatest vulnerability and your greatest strength. Repeat this powerful declaration. My illness is my teacher. My shadow is my ally. My vulnerability is my hidden superpower. I embrace everything I am, including what I've rejected about myself. Do you realize what just happened? You've traveled from seeing your illness as a curse to recognizing it as a disguised blessing. From fearing your shadow to embracing it as a source of power. From fighting against your body to dialoguing with its infinite wisdom. This is the revolution Jung brought to the world, the understanding that we're not victims of our illnesses, but students in an extraordinarily sophisticated school of self-revelation. Every symptom is an invitation. Every discomfort is a question. Every illness is an opportunity to discover aspects of ourselves that had remained hidden. Your body never lies to you. Your shadow never betrays you. What you perceive as sabotage is actually an internal guidance system trying to lead you toward your deepest truth, toward the person you really are when you stop fighting against yourself. But here's the most important question of all. Are you willing to listen? Are you ready to see your next illness, your next symptom, your next discomfort as a message from the wisest part of yourself? Can you change your relationship with your shadow from a war to a conversation? Because when you do, when you really embrace this revolutionary perspective, you won't just transform your health, you'll transform your entire life. You'll access a level of self-knowledge and personal power that most people never experience. You'll become someone who not only doesn't fear illness, but sees it as an opportunity for evolution. Jung knew that the path to wholeness always passes through shadow integration, and your body, in its infinite wisdom, is the most honest guide you have on that journey. Every time you get sick, you're not failing. You're being invited to a deeper level of authenticity. If this message has touched something deep in you, if you feel you finally have an explanation for illness patterns that never made sense before, write in the comments, "I embrace my shadow. I embrace my wisdom." I want to see how many people are ready for this radical transformation in how they relate to their own health. And if you know someone who's struggling with chronic illness, someone who's tired of treating only symptoms without understanding the deeper messages, share this video. You could be changing not only their perspective on health, but their entire relationship with themselves. Subscribe to this channel if you want to continue exploring the deepest truths about the human psyche that Jung revealed. Ring the bell because every week we'll share revelations that can fundamentally transform how you see your life, your relationships, and your purpose in this world. Remember, your illness is not your enemy. It's your wisest teacher waiting for you to finally be ready for the most important lesson of your life. The question is, are you ready to be the student?